going to comment on Chapter 2, secure, dignified, and rewarding livelihoods. So for change to happen, we need clear and inclusive language. We need to be ambitious. And here I have maybe to disagree a bit with what Franz said earlier, that this text was very ambitious. We think we can be even more. And then I'll thank Damien Kelly from the EU that just mentioned the language about investing in youth and that genuinity that we need to make sure we get through in the writing of the zero drafts. And we see in the zero draft, it focuses heavily on youth employment, but it's diminished by the assumption that business goes on as usual and that we merely implement adjustments instead of considering the drastic changes that need to be adopted. If policies let us determine our own way, we, youth, can be a real agent of change and transformation in food systems. And those transformations are needed to leave the agro-industrial ideology. Our societies have been and still are based on peasant livelihoods. We need to respect this. Peasants' agriculture feeds the world and follows the precepts of agroecology. But the zero draft includes only one reference to it and its special rapporteur, Michael Thackeray, has pointed. Those terms collide, and for our part, we think that other innovative practices, this is an open door to industrial agribusiness and false solutions to ecological and climate crises. So CSM does not support the endorsement of those policy recommendations because they don't prioritize the realizations of human rights, as so many of us have pointed out today, and they do not adequately recognize the transformating potential of agroecology. They do not recognize the power imbalances and the impacts of the industrial agriculture in our food systems. And they fail to recognize ancestral and traditional knowledge. And all of these we think are red lines that we should fight for all of this to be included in the zero draft. Now, more specifically on paragraph 2, on point A, we have to be more ambitious and include the essential and radical transformation of food systems and how to secure human rights for youth. And it lacks strong language regarding to access and rights. And it's not so inclusive for young people in all of the diversity of gender, ethnicity, disability, religion, family, health status, etc., as Switzerland and Netherlands have emphasized. We should also make sure that young women have a focus. On point E, labor laws and regulations mentioned here should be based on human rights, again, and on official and global declarations of human rights. And when sustainable agriculture is mentioned, it can't only be environmental sustainability, but it also has to be workforce and social sustainability. On point F, we mention, when mentioning care work, we agree and join along to community-led aspect of checking on care work, but we want to include recognition, as again Michael Thackeray has pointed. Recognition is important of the care work, broad distribution and equity as well. And we would like to be, again, more ambitious here by asking for a whole new economic and care system based on well-being and not simply trying to do quick fixes that we know are not going to be lasting long with all the risks and issues that we are going to face in the future. On point G, monitoring working conditions is very important to ensure inclusive and rewarding livelihood. And the scope and the content of the youth labor rights has to be clearly specified more than it is now, to be precise. And the access to funding, public and private, should be conditioned to the respect of youth labor rights. And finally, on point H, the formulation other innovative practices is too vague. I've mentioned it already, and it discredits the solutions that agroecology offers. So in that respect, we demand that to base the recommendations on the declaration of International Forum for Agroecology, the FAO's 10 elements of agroecology, and the HLP's 13th principle of agroecology, which we think better recognize the needs of food producers. Thanks for letting me participate, and thanks for this process.